Hello, this is the Aftermarket Report with Vegas and Jim. Today's date, February the 24th, 2018, and we really have an exciting watch list we want to share with you today, and I'm going to hand this right over to Miss Vegas.
Well, good day to everybody. It's Sunday, the 24th of February. I cannot believe the end so soon. But nevertheless, let's start this week with a lot of really great, exciting picks. So get your pens ready and pay attention. So we're going to talk today about Roku. We're going to talk about AMD. We're going to talk about Etsy. We're going to talk about RVP, and then I have a little bonus at the end. So stay tuned for that one. And so let's start with Roku. So Roku should be called Roku because that stock just rocked. I mean, the stock shares went soaring. They beat earnings and strong growth. And you know what? Wall Street loved the guidance. Um, they did talk about how they're going to they beat analyst estimates. The guidance was above expectations for 2019, and that is what actually excited Wall Street and excited the market. Um, they did talk about how they reached 27.1 million users, which is a 69% year-over-year jump in streaming hours. And they also plan to invest in the Roku channel and international expansions for 2019. So I gotta say, this stock just so exciting. Now, what excited me even more was this. Not only did they beat analyst earnings and expectations and above guidance, okay, that was so awesome. But I had read that the shorts had shorted the stock on the hopes that the earnings was not going to be very good. Well, guess what? Those shorts got squeezed very big. So when I heard that news that this was heavily shorted before the market opened, I said to myself, oh my gosh, I mean, I can't buy the stock. It's just so expensive. I'd have to buy like only, quite a few hundred shares to make any money. So, again, we try to help small accounts. I thought, you know what, let me go the option route this morning and see what they go for. So as soon as the market opens, because I don't trade pre-market, I went into the options and I found an option call for a $60 price target. And I thought to myself at the time, the stock was about $58.13. And I thought to myself, if this is heavily shorted, they're going to get squeezed maybe later in the morning because they're going to have to start covering when the buyer excitement starts to come in. And so I think we could see $60 today or sooner or early next week. Well, you know what? What a run, because I bought the option call. I shared the idea in the room. Jim can show you that right now.
Yep.
And I alerted the call at 165. I think I was filled at 163. So I was lucky to get it for that price. But nevertheless, people did get the call for 163, 165, a couple pennies, give or take $1 or $2. And you know what? Look where it went. It's currently closed on the option land at 570. So I'm up $407 profit on a $163 investment. That is just insane. And this is why not only do I love stocks, I'm loving options. So I'm going to turn this over to Jim to actually talk to us about this chart because I think there's just more excitement lying ahead on this bullish setup that I'm looking at. Jim, over to you.
Yeah, we hit all our expectations on Friday. I had a resistance level to first break at 62.77. It ran all the way from a low here of around 54, opened up. I mean, it closed down Friday at 51.62. So after
61, you
hours,
mean 61.62?
51.62, it closed down Friday on, or not Friday, but Thursday. And then after hours, it started jumping up, and it ran all the way up to about 54. Hit that little high right here, right around 54.64. And then after that, so it closed Thursday down here around 51.37, right in this area. And then by the end of the close of the next day on Friday, it ran all the way up to 64.92 high. And then pulled back just a little bit. But I had my first resistance that I was asked about was right around 62.77. It did pull back a little bit to that $62 area and then bounced on up and closed at 64.92. So after hours it ran to 64.35. So this was a big, huge bounce of about 15 bucks, $14. It actually had a $12.99 dollar high that day. So that was just very impressive. Roku, and I think the guidance on this stock is going to carry it up a little bit higher, and the momentum behind the guidance will also bring it up a little higher. But we're going to kind of bring us down to first I want to post up a year's chart. Let you look at it. We had a yearly high of 77.57. So this thing closed down to 26.30 just a couple of months ago, back during the December crash, the worst month of December we've had ever in Wall Street. This is when I pulled out my crystal ball and said, start looking at stocks that you liked. If you would have looked at this one, you would have ran this thing up to almost $40 in a matter of 2 months. So that's a huge bounce, $40. It actually went to the year low, which was 29.22, and broke below that. So here we are. We got the next resistance we got to hit here at 65.32, and then we should be able to bring it up next week to about $66. I'd like to see that 66 hit, and if we can mount up on that $66 on that yearly, and you still have a lot more room to run up here to 77. This might be one you want to put on number one on your watch list, and also play the options on it if you can't afford it, like Miss Vegas said and alerted to us Friday. And I alerted this a couple weeks ago, and we made a pretty good trade on it. So, and look at it now. I mean, this thing's looking real good. So I'm just going to pull up this daily 1 minute chart one more time and let you look at it. We're getting a little tight squeeze on my moving averages. So we're getting ready to have another breakout, I think, on it. If it does pull back, it could pull back to this 63.24 area for a level of low support, and I'm going to change that into a red line. That'll identify me when I come in Monday that I want to look at this thing at that price, and I'll probably set an alert right there also. Create an alert. We're at the mark. I'm going to put it at the ask, and I'm going ahead and set this alert just in case it happens to hit that spot. And it'll come up on my computer, and we have another support level right here, right around 63.81. So, it can pull back a little bit because of the acceleration it had on Friday, and especially after hours and pre-market. So the momentum's definitely behind this stock. Look into some option trades if you can't afford this stock. Maybe if it pulls back a little bit, you might get in a better deal. This is Roku. This is the play of the day Friday for Miss Vegas in the room. And the next one we're going to talk about will be AMD, which we've mentioned many times on our aftermarket report.
Yes, so AMD, I mean, you guys know this is a computer chip company, and they with people like NVIDIA and Intel. And I am bullish on this one here. And you know what? So are the big boys. They are loving it from what I was reading here on an article from Seeking Alpha. And they do show that institutional investors also have been increasing their buy levels. So they've been adding shares. So they've obviously bought shares in the past, and it looks like they're buying more. And, definitely AMD, one of the exciting things that people are looking forward to is that they're scheduled to roll out some new products with industry-leading 7nm node this year across their GPU and CPU families. And apparently NVIDIA is moving to some sort of platform like that, but not till 2020. The fact that AMD would be able to do that sometime in 2019, introduce that kind of a product, would actually give them some sort of serious competition. The other things AMD is looking to do as well, they are looking to have higher average selling prices, market share against NVIDIA and Intel, access to high-end sub-markets for the GPU, CPU products that they have, which at the end of the day, they'll have higher units shipped out, which will in stronger financial growth of the company, allowing it to boost their R&D development and they're able to come out with even more competitive products. So I think AMD is ready for a move. The other thing too, I did notice this was also mentioned in the Investors Business Daily as a idea for a potential good swing trade. So I like the fact that their team that's researched the stocks liking it as well. And I'm going to look at AMD tomorrow, really more from an options perspective. So I will be looking at AMD for the option call for around the 2550 strike, expiring March 15, going for about 60 cents, and that's from Friday, so it might be different tomorrow. And I'm also going to look at the $26 strikes, option calls. Those ones don't expire till April 18, and those ones are going for about $1.18, which is $118. So I'm thinking I'm liking one of each, or a couple of each at the most, just because I'm really liking the direction where this company's headed and the way that the setup is looking. So Jim, you tell us on AMD.
Yeah, also they have a March options call on AMD at 47 cents for a $26 strike.
Oh, I like that. That's really good for the smaller accounts.
Yeah, at 47 cents. And I just started playing options myself. I've been a trader for over 14 years every day. And if it wasn't for Miss Vegas, I would have probably never got into to start learning these options. So I do appreciate that. So let's look
Well,
at the,
thank you.
you're welcome. Let's look at the AMD chart. I just had to clean it up because I had been playing the heck out of this stock here, and I'm going to pull up the yearly. I got a price target on this again at 30 bucks. We hit 34.14 last year back in September, and it kind of had a triple top up there, and it pulled back to the 200 SMA, and then bounced up a little bit, and then we had that rough December, pulled back to below that 200 SMA. It likes to bounce off this 200, but I think we're going to hit another double top area right here, right around 24.50. And then if we can break that, we're going to proceed up to these newer highs. I'm also very bullish on this stock. I've been bullish on it ever since I called it down here at $9 to $10. We brought it out in the room that we used to be in, and it ran all the way up to this 34 in a matter of 5 to 6 months. So we did have the pullback and the correction. It did have a pretty good bottom here on the 200 SMA. We called this out in the room when it was down here around 18 bucks. Said my resistance level was at 20, the pivot point on the yearly chart. And then we had this big, huge run here ever since, all the way up to this resistance level of 25. We had option call. That was my very first option call I made. I made 138% on that thing, and I was just very pleased. If I'd held it, I would have made a lot more, but I got excited and got out of it because I just wanted to bank on that profit. And we did have a pullback to the 100, and now she's busted up on that on the yearly chart. So I'm going to fastly bring it to the 20-day, have you a glance at it. We hit that 25.14 resistance. I have a $25 alert on it to break that this coming week or sooner. And then if we could break that 25 and break that double top on a 20-day period, I think we're going to move on up to that $30 area. The momentum's definitely behind it. The news is behind it. The fat cats love it, as I showed you in that article. The big boys, I call them the fat cats. And let me pull up the daily just to see if I can find a support level on it. I'm kind of looking at it. I'm going to draw me a little trend line right here of consolidation or 24.25. Then I'm going to have me another one right down here, right around 24.15. So if it does kind of want to knife a little bit, you have these three different areas. And then we have an area of support right here on the 200 SMA on a daily 1 minute at 24.39. So that could be a possible entry too. There at the 24.39. It did run up after hours. We did have a good day on it Friday. It had a low of 23.88. You see how it pulled back? Hit the resistance level, consolidated, hit the moving averages, and then respected the 50-day for the rest of the day. We did have a tight squeeze after hours between the 50 and the 100, but it continued to move on up and closed at a high after hours at 24.50. And I do love that number. That's a magic number to me. So let's see if we can bring it up to the 25. 24.56, my next resistance. And if we can get to that 25 and break that double top, we're on our way to new highs next week. This is AMD. I'm very bullish on the stock. I've been bullish on it for over a half a year. Or longer. Actually longer. Almost 3/4 of a year. So the next one we're going to bring up is going to be, this one is a very special stock to me in Vegas.
It's a special one to me because I've been with this little baby inception.
Yep.
And this is my sweet little my little stock called NIO, NIO. My gosh, finally seeing some movement on this stock. I mean, so, it was just a rough little ride in the beginning, but you know what? I think we're going to start getting a little smoother here. So I just want to talk about NIO briefly, and then I'm going to turn it over to Jim. But, you guys know that the Chinese electric car makers, China's looking to build more than 1 million electric vehicles this year for 2019, and there's major, major, major support from the government. They really want to see these cars on the road. And NIO also is getting some publicity with a promotion from CBS News Magazine TV show called 60 Minutes. This will air tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I recommend that you certainly try to watch the episode. I'm going to watch it. In the interview that's done with Holly Williams, she talks to the NIO's chief Wilkie about NIO ES8 SUV. And she said to him, and I quote, "I heard that you were the one who called this car the Tesla." And so I'd love to hear his answer to her question tonight. And I want to hear what they're going to talk regarding NIO. So I think this exciting TV show tonight, a documentary, a little interview with Mr. William Lee. But you know what? I want to hear what he's going to say about what's going on with the company and what they're doing. So it kind of gives us like a little sneak peek of what's going on there. And also, I'm loving this chart. So Jim, you tell us what you like about it too, because I'm super bullish on NIO at this time.
And I just realized we got a little bonus play off this we're going to talk about at the end of the day.
Sure.
So this is NIO. The website, I just dig it. I mean, I really love this company. I love the car. They have some real cool cars. They have the NIO ES6. They have the 9, which is really the one that Vegas is going to buy for me next year. This one right here, the EP9, looks like a I mean, this thing is really a good looking car. So let's talk about the chart a little bit. We're definitely bullish on NIO. I called the triple bottom on NIO just a few months back, or a little while back. We had the triple bottom here at 592. I called the pullback, and then we've had nothing but sweet sailing on the way up. We're getting ready to break this little resistance level that we had, and that came Friday after hours, close into the end of the day, off the news about CNBC or CNBS or whatever that channel was. But we did hit a high here at 833. We haven't seen that in a while, and actually that can bring us on up to the next catalyst, up to $9. So let me pull up the 20-day chart on it real fast. Let you look at the 20-day. I haven't touched any of these extended trend lines. I've played it pretty strong. I had a pivot point right here, or a resistance at 745, and we had to break this 660 down here, and we did that, and we ran all the way up to 859 off that run in about a week and a half. Then it pulled back to support right about $7, little over 7. And then this last week, and along with a lot of other cars that we mentioned that were great runners last week, FUV, Solo, they were all, was that Candy, KNDI?
Yes.
They all ran, and they all ran big. And then NIO came right after the sprint. It kind of came in right after all these others ran, but then it took off, and now it's in the lead. So we got NIO. We need to break this resistance level of 832 come Friday, and we can bring it up to this next resistance level of 856. I also have a little consolidated area here at 847. Once it breaks this 856, we're up to 876 and then $9. Let's see if this momentum takes off. If it doesn't, you could see a nice little pull. I mean, not a respectable pullback on it to this 812 area. And if that don't hold, just a little bit under it. I wouldn't want to see this thing go any lower than 777. That's my lucky number when I'm out there at the casinos in Las Vegas. I can roll the dice and roll them sevens. Sometimes I've done it a couple times, rolling them 3 times in a row. So let's have a great week next week. Let's see if we can break this 832 resistance on NIO and run it on up to the next resistance level of 859 to 876 up to $9. And that will be my chartist artist review on NIO. I'm very bullish on. I've been bullish on this stock from the very beginning, and I also do believe that this stock can run up past 10 easily this year and get and catch momentum and run on up to that $20 area by the end of the year or a little bit into next year if something bad doesn't happen to the company. And there are some big fat cats invested in this company too for the long run. The next one we're going to talk about is one that Vegas wants to do a little explanation on, and she's going to really get into this one. It's called Etsy.
Yeah, so I mean, I've talked about I just want e-com site. They're focused on handmade vintage items and supplies. They also, a little bit of a competitor with like eBay, but a little bit different because these are mostly like the crafty people that are on there. So, people that know how to do like artwork and people that know how to design pillowcases, and they have people that make websites. So they have like this platform for basically people that are pretty crafty and good at doing things with their hands. You should actually check it out if you've never checked it out. ETSY.com. And I do like the company. I mean, they do have their earnings tomorrow, so I'm kind of looking at this from an earnings play. I mean, the company did go IPO back in 2015, I think it was. And you know what? Etsy's had some really good money. Like they've made pretty good money in the past. And, internally they've had some changes with the board. But that's because some of the founders, moved on to other things. But there's a company. But nevertheless, I'm liking Etsy from really an earnings play. They do report tomorrow after hours, and certainly a lot of people don't trade options or stocks sometimes into earnings. They will wait till the earnings come out. But you know what? I'm kind of liking the chart on Etsy, and I'm liking it because it looked like to me I saw a pocket pivot on the chart. I saw an expansion pivot, and it looks like, if I was, forget about the earnings, but if I was going to do a trade, I mean, I would probably want to buy the stock and swing trade it for at least a week or two, because I do see a continuation potentially going on here. But because the earnings is coming out and they've had good earnings in the past, I'm going to do a lotto play tomorrow on Etsy. And I'm going to be looking at a strike price of, I saw an option call. I think it was a $60 strike, and they're going for about $3.10 each. So it's $310. Now, I don't know if that's what it'll be worth in the morning. It could be worth more, it could be worth less. I'll know more tomorrow morning when the option market opens. But I'm looking to buy one call. It's a little pricier than what I paid for. I'm only going to buy one. And then we'll see what happens. But this will be a lotto option because, as you know, if the earnings don't work out or the guidance is not good, and this is the first report, the quarter one first earnings for the year. So if the earnings don't go well or the guidance doesn't go well, I mean, I could lose my $310, most of it or half of it. So it is a bit risky for sure to do this. So I don't recommend it if you're to options that you do this. If you're comfortable risking knowing that $310 investment could become half or less, then that's your choice. Again, I'm just sharing what I'm going to be doing, but I'm prepared that if I put in that money, I can be prepared that I'm not going to see it again. So it's a risk I'm personally willing to take. And Jim, I'd like to hear your thoughts on the chart because it looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, and if you have doubts, you can look at the put section, and there's a
Yeah,
$50
that's
put.
true too.
There's a $50 put
Absolutely.
here at 170 for $50, or $55 put at 340. So that's something also in March. That's something that you could consider. We'll find out more, like she says,
If you're
come
bearish
Monday.
on the stock, yeah.
Yep. And I also wanted to bring up about Etsy. I like to paint. I'm going to post a little painting here that I like to do, and I might throw one of these up here on the Etsy platform and see if I could sell a few of them little paintings there. So yeah, I like to paint. It relaxes me. It gets me in the mood to control my mind a little bit, and that could be very interesting. So let's pull up the chart. Huh?
Yeah, before you talk about the chart, I just want to add one
Yeah.
that, Etsy did open up an artificial intelligence location in Toronto. Uh, 3 locations. They have one in Toronto, but they also have one in Brooklyn, New York, and one in San Francisco, California. So nice to see that Etsy did pick Toronto as one of these spots for their artificial intelligence division.
Yep.
That's great. Okay, Jim, over to that beautiful chart.
Yeah, I posted up that little article for you too, so they could all see it.
Okay.
So here's the Etsy yearly chart, or the 20-day. Let's pull up the year and have a little gander at it. You see it's been on a pretty good little run. It bounced up, hit a resistance level of right around 53, pulled back when we had the rough uh, 2019, but bounced right back up. Bounced right back up within 3 days, pulled back, bounced up, pulled back. It's created a solid support down here right around 43 something, which I'm going to make a resistant support level probably right around in here. I like this area right here. This right, and actually I like it more now that the 200 SMA had run right up to it at 45.52. So what we got to do with this trade here is it's got to break this resistance level that I have at 57.28. We did have a great Friday on it. It did run up. It ran up from 53, almost $2 and something, $3.64. It bounced up Friday. You could see a nice little pullback on it right before the earnings come out. Let me look at the 20-day. I want to draw a little support line right in here, right around 55.82. And I'm drawing these up, trying to help my patrons learn how I draw some of these support levels and resistance lines. I see another one right in here, right around 55.24. So that 55 that I talked about could be a good little spot if it does pull back any. We did have a wonderful run on this Friday from 53.73. Actually, after hours, it was at $53 all the way to 56.88. You did see a little pop here about 3 weeks ago up to $60. So this can run on up and hit that 59.75 to 60.45. But you can pause this video if you like, jot these numbers down, save this chart. Feel free to do that. I'm here at your disposal. So she could run up to this resistance level that I have at 57.75. So I'm kind of just going to see what happens next week if I want to play any plays on this. If it starts to pull back, I might get into a put. If it decides to run up, I might go ahead and get into the call. But that's how I'm going to invest in this stock. I'm not going to buy the stocks. It'll be an options play. And I do like it because it does help the small artist people that like to do art. I'm very active in art. I was a custom picture framer for 18 years. And so I've been involved in a lot of community projects when it comes to art. The art walks, if you're familiar and you have some in your area, please go visit them and help your local artist out. This is Etsy, and the next one we're going to talk about is going to be one that Vegas is going to talk about that one of our YouTube followers mentioned. That's
No, this is actually one of my Stocktwits followers,
Stocktwits, excuse me.
but you know what? He's following us, he better subscribe.
Yep.
So this is for my follower called Omnis, and he was asking me our thoughts on RVP. And RVP stands for Retractable Technologies Inc. And this actually makes the injection products with infusion, and they, obviously all those needles that we got that are there. but they have a special automated retraction built into their needles. So this way it retracts directly from the patient, reducing exposure to any contamination. So that's a really interesting concept. The needles look really cool.
Yeah, they do.
By the way, I hate needles. So I'm not a fan of needles, but hey, listen, you know what? The company in general does have a pretty interesting product, and obviously in demand. I mean, people do need these needles. This company here was brought to my attention. I did like the weekly chart on the stock, and so I'd like Jim to just talk about his thoughts on this, because I would like your opinion, but I also do want to comment that there has been some insider buying on RVP. Not tons and tons of shares, but Mr. Thomas Shaw, he owns 18,267,000 shares of the company, and he keeps on buying shares in drips and drabs. He'll buy like 8,000, he'll buy 5,000, he'll buy 20,000. So he is accumulating shares of his own company stock. And these are all disclosed on the Form 4s. So his recent buy was on February 13 and 15. He bought a total of almost 35,000 shares. But he's bought quite a lot of shares for the month of February. So I like that. He's obviously buying for a reason. And Jim, turning over to you to just talk to us with regards to this beautiful chart that looks pretty good to me.
Looks like he wants to double his money, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So we're going to pull up the chart on it. We're going to look at the yearly first. We're going to see where this thing was during that year period. Oh, look at that. We had a yearly high of $1.08. Let me pull up a 3-year. This gives me a grand illusion of where I want to be with it. I see a good resistance level at that $3, $4 area. I see a support level or another resistance right here at the 92.63, 92, 90, 95. Oh, we'll go 95 right there. And I'm drawing these because I want to have these so I won't have to mess with it come Friday or Monday. Right there at 103. Now I'm going to pull up the 20-day chart. Look at here, 3-year high at $3. So we're going to pull up the 20-day 1 hour. I got all my little resistance lines ready. It seems like it had a bottom here in a 20-day at 68. Now we're at 77. Had a good little run Friday. Not very much right at the end of the day. Not much volume until the end of the day. So this is a low volume swing trade. If you want to try to get in it at a better price, try to look for this 72.15. I always say don't chase a stock. Let them come to you because they do pull back. 72 to 72.48, somewhere in this little channel right here. I like that a lot. I'm going to draw me a little blue line here so I can remember it come Monday. In that little area right there. We'll post that there. Okay, so let's look at the daily. The daily won't tell you much. It tells you that somebody got in this thing and paid a little bit more than they should have and run it up all the way to 77 cents. So let's see if we can find these two support areas. I'm going to draw another one right here, right around 74. Right there looks like a good spot for your first support. Second support right here at 73.64. And then a low support in this area between the 72 and the 72.50. Somewhere in that area. So this goes out to you, my friend, in Stocktwits, RVP. Keep it on watch. Try to play it off the 50 SMA if you can on a daily 1 minute. Don't chase it. Let it come to you. And then we got one more stock we want to talk about. That's MRNS, Miss Vegas.
Yeah, and that's my little bonus one for the week. I want to just mention RNS. They are going to be at a presentation in New York at the annual SVB Global Healthcare Conference on Wednesday. They will be presenting at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so that's happening during market hours. So you might see some little excitement on the stock. The company, they have a lot of things in a phase two, specifically for pediatric epilepsy, postpartum depression, and acute epilepsy. So a lot of these things are in phase two. And I think the pediatric refractory epilepsy is going towards the phase three already, or is ready to start or has started. So when I was looking at the chart, I did like that the way it closed. It looks like it's ready for an expansion breakout. And it looks like it's had a 2-month high. So I'm going to let Jim talk about this, but you could definitely see that there's some activity here on the stock. And keep in mind that they're going to be at an event on Wednesday. So don't be surprised if you start seeing some action on this starting prior to the conference that they're doing on Wednesday at 3 o'clock. So, Jim, over to you on this chart.
They have a huge pipeline. I'm
Yeah.
looking at this pipeline. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest pipelines I've seen in a long time on stock. That's relative cheap to price. I mean, I'm just infatuated about this pipeline they have. So yeah, let's talk about the chart. MRNS. We did have a closing high after hours at 440. This thing ran up in one day from 364 all the way up to that 440 area. That's a pretty good 80-cent bounce, 65 cents to be exact. And let's pull up the year's chart and have a look at it real fast. 1 year daily. We did have a year high of 1054. It has pulled back to a low support of 236, and that was in that bad month of last year, when back in December, where everything sold off. It has retraced. It has a nice little upward wedge going on here, upward channel. And actually, we hit the top of that channel. Let me pull up the 20-day or maybe the 3-month. Very beautiful chart. I mean, this thing got the M going on. We're bouncing up off the M. We had that 240 low support there, right there at 240 area. Now we run it up all the way up to 428. This can break up past resistance. I have a couple more resistance lines I want to show you here. One of them's right here at 472. Then we got another one right here, right at around a little under $5. So that's going to be my hard target for right now. This can take off and bounce back up to that previous high we had last year. And that wasn't too long ago. Not too long ago at all. And during that bad December of 2018, it did have the kind of little pullback. So let me look at, that was a 3-year. Let me look at the 1 month. Yeah, I'm liking this quite a bit. We did have a nice little breakout. I think if it does want to pull back, we could hit a support level right around $4. And if that doesn't hold, it can go a little bit under $4 to this next support level, which is right around 389. And I'm going to put that in there. Then we're going to look at the 20-day. Fine tuning this chart right now. I see another support level right here at 404. And we did have that little breakout right here that day there, and it pulled on back, corrected itself. So we've had a 2-week run on it. Friday was a great day for this stock, and it did run up here to the 440 level. So I'm going to kind of just let you all know, I think maybe if it wants to pull back any at all, don't chase it, let it come to you. But it has a huge pipeline, and I'm thinking this 422 area is going to be your first support is going to be 433, 422, and then maybe right around this 412, 414 area. And we're just going to have to watch this Monday to see how I want to play this stock. Now, I also want to throw in a bonus special. This is one that's going to run with NIO. It's going to run with all these other electric cars. We've mentioned it a few times in the aftermarket report and also in the chat room of I Love Stocks. And that's BLNK. Blink. Now, I always say don't blink. We did have a pullback on it Friday. And then after hours, it bounced up to this 369 resistance level. And this is the charging stations for the electric cars, and it is a pretty big company. And I do believe that this company can grow big time this year, along with the electric cars. It seems like they're, for the last couple weeks, they've been on a good run. So has this stock. This stock broke out along with a sympathy play to these electric cars from down here at a bottom of around 218 with a 100% gain up to 425 in less than a week. So we did have a pullback on it. It did find resistance. It has corrected itself a little bit. We've had 2 days of pullbacks on it with bounces into the evening. And I do think if we get one more little pullback, it can come down here to about the 326 area. But that's going to be a low support. If not, we could probably have another good run with this next week with NIO. NIO and maybe FUV, Candy, KNDI, and Solo. So keep all them on your watch list. And is there anything you wanted to mention about Blink, Miss Vegas?
No, but can I just tell you that here, HEAR,
Yep.
I've got it on watch because you know what? That float is shorted. 60% of the float is short. And I believe that Turtle Beach might be, which is the name of the company, and you actually are a fan of them, but they
Yep.
look like they will be reporting earnings very soon. And
Uh-oh.
the thing is that if they have earnings that is positive, the shorts will be in some serious trouble. This could be another Roku.
Well,
That's if the earnings are good.
and they will
Um,
because, go ahead.
yeah, go
Because I
ahead.
believe sales guidance was forecasted upward in a way. And their last
Yeah.
earnings report that they put out, well, sales guidance from 94 million to 109 million versus 111 to which was a $94 million estimate. So actually, they raised the guidance on it for sales. This is a real popular company to the gamers and maybe to the people that use headsets and talk on them, which I will be investing in one this year for myself. So yeah, I've been very bullish on here for a very long time, and I've called this stock pretty good on the pullbacks. And we have had a good sell-off here in the last week, and it did.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that there could be a bit of a
I believe that we could have the reversal too, and
yeah.
and it can. I got a $16 target on this. We hit that Friday, and I think we can hit it again Monday or Tuesday and run on up and hit the $17 mark. And then we have a 20-day high up here at 18 as your third and final resistance. But I'm 100% bullish on this stock, and I've been 100% bullish on for this stock for more than a half a year. When it was down here at my level of entry down here, right around $10 to $11. Vegas and I mentioned this stock when it was down here at 5 last year, and it ran all the way up to 34. So we've had a gradual pullback. It didn't do as good as I expected it to do during Christmas, but we did have the resistance level here, which is right around $17 to $18. So keep them targets in mind. If it does want to pull back any at all, then you're looking at around 14.50. Don't chase, but we are at a double bottom here at what it said. Let me pull this up one more time to 10-day. At the 15.28 level. So yeah,
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
it.
All right. Well, you know what, guys? That's our market report to get you all ready for the, and especially those of you that have a full-time job, definitely gave you some really good ideas for even swing trade on some really nice charts that we went over today. So that should help you hopefully bank some money while you have your other job for now. And maybe one day you'll quit and become into trading full time. So I want to thank everyone for listening and watching. Don't forget to visit our website. And you can go to our members section and you can come and try the free trial. You just got to click the free trial button and just quickly put your name in there and download the Discord app and come check it out. I mean, there's a free trial, so come check it out. And if you don't like it, that's fine. But you know what? You can't make that decision until you actually try it out and see if it helps you learn, because that's really what the chat room's about, is educational content. And Jim and I talk on voice every day from 9 till 4 and really try to give guidance to people and help them learn and better understand things. And we have a really great team of love helping, sharing ideas, and that's how we just love collaborating nicely all together. So that's what teamwork's all about. Have a great day, and don't forget to watch the 60 Minutes NIO tonight on TV, and the 60-minute special. And I'll put the link in our video. And have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, and I also want to close with we're here to help the traders that are having difficulty in trading, that haven't quite hit where they need to be, and we're also here to learn from them also. And also, the novice trader doesn't always know everything, and it's good to have them in the room to help educate us and maybe also to learn a few things from us. So please follow us on our Discord channel if you can. You get that 2 weeks that she mentioned. And I'm going to close this by saying I love stocks. This is the Vegas and Jim Sunday edition, where we talk a little more extensively about our watch list, and we're preparing you for next week. And we do follow premium stocks that like to run, that have momentum. We do throw a couple bonus plays in there, and we do we just enjoy what we do, and it's what I love about stocks the most. It keeps me occupied, keeps my brain working, and I just love learning from other people. And I also love sharing ideas that I've built up in the past 14 years, and same as Vegas. I think she feels the same way. So we're going to close this down. This is February the 24th, 2019, and I love stocks, and Miss Vegas loves stocks.